Hello, grade 6 students. Here is our next segment of adding decimals with 3 place values. In this video, I'm just going to show you how to do that without using the base 10 blocks. So to start, let's say that we had a question such as 5.067, and we are going to add 6 to that number. And so if I was adding that, I might do something, write down my number, add the 6, and when I add them all up, I'm going to do some regrouping here. So that would be 13, carry the 1, there's nothing there, 6, 5, and the decimal would go there. And so I might do that, but I have to think. Let's look back at the question here. It's actually asking me 5.6, but let's not even worry about that. 5 plus 6 is 13, and so it should be around 13, and if I look back here, I can see that it's not anywhere close to 13. That's just a little bit more than 5, and so I can see clearly I've done something wrong, and I'm wondering if you can see what it is. This is not in the right spot, because 6 in this question, this is 6, but when I put it here and I'm adding it to, I'm adding thousandths to ones, and we can't add a little tiny block to a big block, so we have to remember that 6 is actually 6.0000000. I can keep adding as many zeros as I want, and so what the question should actually look like, because this is not right, it should be, here's my first number, that one was not a problem, and I'm adding it to 6. That's in the ones, so make sure that's adding 5, which is in the ones, and here I'll put those zeros in to show that there's nothing in those place values in the number 6. And so now I can simply add those 7 thousandths plus 0 thousandths, no tenths at all, or sorry, hundredths, and we have 6 tenths here, and here's our decimal to show which place value those are on, and now here I have 11. And so this makes a lot more sense. Very important that we're lining up, just like in our previous video with the blocks, that we're adding hundredths to hundredths, ones to ones, thousands to thousands. Because if we don't, then we end up with something that's not even close. Okay, so that's one example. Let's do another one together. In this example now, let's do 1.007 plus 9.8. And so remembering to line those up, line the place values and the decimals up properly. There's that one. 9 is in the ones. There's the decimal. 8 is tenths. And again, I don't have anything here. I don't have any hundredths. I don't have any thousandths, so I'll just put zeros there and simply add as normal. And 1 plus 9 is 10. And there's the decimal lined up. You'll see how those make a nice straight line. It's really important that you line the decimals up. And so the answer here is 10.807. Okay. One other example I guess we should do before we end this video, and I think that you probably have this by now, but let's come up with, let's say, 5.008 plus 0.006. And so we actually have the same number of place values this time. So we'll line them up nice and neat. And what I wanted you to see here is that this is what, there's going to be some regrouping here, because 8 plus 6 is 14. So I am going to put down 4 here, but we would bundle 10 of the thousandths and they would become a hundredth. And so that one will go there, still no tenths. There's our decimal, and 5. And looking back, this is very close to 0, and this is 5, so it should be close to 5, and it is very close to 5. Okay, pretty straightforward. I think the last video did a pretty good job of explaining it, but some highlights of things you need to remember are that the decimals, line up the decimal. We want to make sure the place values are in the right spot, because you need to add the same place values. Make sure you're adding ones to ones, tenths to tenths, etc., just like you do with whole numbers. The other thing you need to remember is that you can add or use a 0 when needed. So we did that in our 2 previous examples, but we didn't have to do it here. Just like with whole numbers, you're just going to regroup when needed. So you're building base 10 blocks. We don't use the blocks in this one, but you can see how it would be. And then finally, please, please, please always to remember, just check. Does it make sense? Does my answer seem very reasonable? 5, remember 5 plus mostly nothing is going to give you 5. And so that's what we have, 5 plus a little tiny bit. Okay, I hope this video helped to explain adding decimals up to 3 place values. And if you have any questions, you can send me an email. Good luck.